It sounds like it was quite a positive, constructive quarter. Just talk us through some of the dynamics and where the growth momentum is coming from.
Thank you, Joumanna. Look, it's not just been a quarter. I think it's 4 years in a row. Second year in a row now we have record years for the history of the group. And the first 9 months of this year are no exception to this. We've managed to grow our top line by a full 3%, expand our EBITDA margin at 44%, and increase our bottom line by 6%. And just a caveat, this year we're taking a 15% provision for the Pillar 2 tax, which we didn't have last year. So if you adjusted it for that, our net income would have grown actually 12% year on year. I think that's a testament to our focus, our discipline, and our portfolio mix between mature cash-generating markets in the GCC and very high-growth markets such as Iraq, Algeria, and Tunisia, which have double-digit growth. And another testament is the confidence of the board. As you mentioned, we've been increasing our dividend by nearly 160% over the last 4 years. We've been at the top of our payout ratio, and the board has changed the payout ratio, now going to 50 to 70% of normalized profits. So it shows their confidence in our momentum and trajectory.
I did want to ask you about the increase in the dividend payout, because also I'm assuming that you are going to have big R&D spends, big CapEx spends coming up in the next few years. So why did it make sense now to increase the percentage of your dividend payout?
Look, we're one of the best free cash flow generating telco around the world. I think we're in the top quartile. We've been able to organically delever our balance sheet from 2 times net debt to EBITDA. Right now, we're at 0.6 times net debt to EBITDA. I think we have one of the strongest balance sheets in the industry. We've been very, very disciplined on the telco sides in terms of CapEx to sales ratio. We're always sub 16%. And we are investing a lot. We've committed $1 billion in data center expansion, $500 million in international connectivity with sea cable. Despite that, we're still delevering. And I think, you know, one of our commitments is shareholder returns and shareholder value creation. And we've been at the top of our payout ratio for the last 3 years, despite all these investments and that growth. So it's only logical that we increase our range.
Yeah, talk to me about the data center ambitions and the build out there. Obviously hugely topical for the market. Ultimately, how much do you see this contributing to the bottom line of the business? Because right now, of course, you're still very much in investment phase.
Yeah, today we have a relatively small operation in terms of data centers when you look at the huge announcement in the US, etc. But we are a market leader within our footprint with around 66% of installed capacity. Just this year, we've managed to increase, just by expanding existing facilities, our installed capacity in Qatar by around 25%. We have a committed target of growing our full installed capacity to above 120 megawatts in the next 3 to 4 years. There are long-term projects, as you know. There's around 18 to 24 months build out, depending on the projects. But the stated goal as a digital infrastructure company is by 2030 to have at least 25% of our EBITDA coming from the infrastructure stack. This is not just data centers, it's in the data centers, towers, and undersea cables and connectivity, because people focus a lot on the data centers. They tend to forget that they need to be connected between each other, and 90% of the data between Europe and Asia flows through this region, and we have an exceptional footprint to leverage that growth.
Yeah, interesting. I'm going to pick you up on that, but let me just ask you one question. Do you have access to all the chips that you need that are necessary for the build out of these data centers?
We were the first telco in the region to be an NCP. We announced that close over a year ago. And an NCP is an NVIDIA cloud partner. So we have Priority access to the chips. We've actually deployed chips today in Qatar. We're deploying them in Kuwait, in Oman, and in Tunisia. This doesn't just focus on Qatar, it focuses on all our footprint. Our subsidiary in Indonesia, IOH, is actually leading. I think they were the first telco in Asia to deploy the GB200 chips nearly 5 months ago. So we are investing and deploying AI for our customer at the fastest speed we can.
Yeah, and just quickly, because you mentioned this, talk to me about the importance of the undersea connectivity and what you're doing in that space.
So, as I mentioned, 90% of the world's, of Europe to Asia's connectivity flows through the region. There hasn't been many significant investment in undersea connectivity through the region in the past 5-6 years. You know, all the problem of saturation and security you have at the Suez Canal and the Strait of Hormuz. Given our footprint operating in Oman and Iraq, we're laying FIG, which is the first cable which will connect Oman to Iraq, flow through Iraq directly into Turkey, and connecting to the Mediterranean. This will be the first cable connecting Asia to Europe, which circumvents the Suez Canal and the Hormuz Strait. The demand we have on that is extremely significant because of its speed, resilience, but also security benefits.